Hi, Beverly. It's really significant for a couple of reasons. Firstly, it says to all combatants in this war that you may be permitted to kill, but you are still subject to the laws of war, and they are very important. But secondly, it says that the Ukrainians are not meting out arbitrary justice. They're getting on with the job of allowing police and others to collect evidence and place that evidence before the courts.
How surprised were you that he pleaded guilty?
I'm not very surprised. I mean, most young soldiers you'll find that will cop to things when they're caught fair and square. This young fellow was caught fair and square. He shot at a passerby as they tried to escape to prevent that passerby making a phone call. It was murder fair and square, and he's admitted to it.
Yeah. The ICC, meanwhile, has sent more investigators in what seems to be the largest deployment of its kind in history. How critical is it at this point to be tracking and tracing these kind of crimes?
I think it's really important. I think it's 42 investigators they sent. The quicker you can get on to the ground and to collect evidence, the more likely you are to secure a conviction down the track. So the more evidence collection, the more investigators are there, the better off the Ukrainians will be.
Yeah. Mick, let's move to the Azovstal steelworks, which the Ukrainian leadership has decided to give up on and have asked the soldiers to evacuate. They are evacuating. We understand about 1,700 have now surrendered. What would be the usual protocol in the case of these prisoners of war? We understand they have been sent to a prisoner camp in a Russian-controlled region.
Well, prisoners of war are governed by conventions, the Geneva Convention. They should be accessed by the International Red Cross and be able to send messages to their families through the Red Cross. They should be treated with dignity, and they should not be used as workhorses or subject to punishment or torture. It's really under question whether Russians will adhere to those norms and those conventions that most of the rest of the world adheres to.
The Ukrainians are hoping for a prisoner swap, but some from Russia say that they should be charged with war crimes. Now that seems quite absurd, given they were defending their own land.
Oh, you're dead right, Beverly. It's absolutely absurd that soldiers just doing their duty, defending their land, be charged with war crimes. There's no proof that this has been the case. Indeed, the opposite is the case. Those who bombarded Mariupol through long-range artillery, using tanks, and killed all those civilians are the real war criminals here.
What do you make of this surrender of Mariupol in the overall battle?
Well, at the end of the day, the Ukrainian High Command and probably the President of Ukraine had to make a fairly brutal calculus. Was it worth wasting the lives of these brave soldiers for what now is fairly minimal gains? I think they've made the right decision. Mariupol was largely lost anyway. What they've done is save the lives of these soldiers so they can hopefully return to their families at some point in the future.
Yeah. So what does that mean now in the overall scheme of Russia's campaign to have control of Mariupol?
Well, the Russians have already released a lot of the forces that were around Mariupol to go fight in the east and the south. That's not working out that well for them. The Russians now need to be able to hold on to these large areas in the south that they've captured. We've already seen reports of partisan attacks in the areas of the south. The Russians can probably expect a lot more of that in the near and medium term.
Mm. You know, for Russia's campaign, it's depended upon the Russians believing what Putin's narrative has been. But it's been interesting. There have been some breakouts here. We saw a top general going on television, mass television there, and talking out about the war, the truth of the war, the trouble, the isolation that Russia is now experiencing. Do you think that's going to help sway public opinion?
Sadly, I don't think it will. And indeed, that particular gentleman has today got back on message. I think he probably had a fairly significant talking to after that bout of honesty on national television, I'm sure the censors will be watching for those kind of outbursts again in the near future.
Yeah. Mick, always good to have you on. Thanks so much.
Thank you.